Welcome back to Tales of Two Bros. I am Angel.
I'm Adan.
And between us, we have Kimberly.
Hi.
Crashing our party, bro. You gotta be careful. She's gonna take over this.
Yeah, need to pick out some of this testosterone.
I mean, you do get a lot more views.
Well, it depends. This is our marvelous review of Thor Ragnarok. Dun, 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 dun. Ah, ah. Dun, 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 dun.
One day we're gonna record you at karaoke. It's gonna be hilarious.
Spoilers. So, guys, we both watched Thor Ragnarok in preparation for Thor Love and Thunder. Off the bat, I'm going to say right here, this is so far, Thor Ragnarok is the best of the current trilogy. Can we agree or disagree?
I can agree.
I know people that would disagree, but I agree.
I don't care about those right now.
I'm the
three of
neutral
us
party.
here.
I'm Switzerland.
No, I know some people didn't like it because they found it too comical. Where, in my opinion, I think what Taika Waititi did here was brought in the story of Thor 1, action that was in Thor 2, The Dark World, and then was able to create his own.
I can agree with that. And I think what he also did was, as comical as people thought it was, he brought in a lot more deep cuts and lore into the Thor universe than a lot of people believed.
The scenery, the setting, a lot of it was from Jack Kirby's artwork. That was the inspiration for this movie, and Jack Kirby is one of the creators of Thor.
Yep.
So, I mean, the honor there, and of course the artwork that he did with being with Marvel in the early years. This movie takes place actually after Age of Ultron and during Captain America Civil War, because in Captain America Civil War, we don't see Thor, we don't see Hulk. It would have been kind of interesting to see where they would stand, who they would have been Team Captain America, who would have been Team Iron Man. That would have been a kind of cool dynamic.
They kind of touched on it on those Team Thor commercials.
Right, but it was more Team Thor, not Team Captain or Team Iron Man.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
But the
it was
funny
his own thing. It was like the third team.
But did you notice that when Doctor Strange was talking to Thor, they kind of hinted at those commercials? He goes, you didn't think to call me or notify me that my father's here on Earth? And he goes, you don't have a cell phone or you don't have a phone. He's like, no. But you could have emailed me.
You have to email me.
He's like,
you have a computer.
I don't have a computer.
What for?
He's like, no. Right. And I like that they replayed that scene that was in the end credit for Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Doctor Strange's costume here in a sense. It was a little more accurate, had the gloves on. His hair was not a wig. It was actually his hair. Like in Doctor Strange 2, The Multiverse of Madness, that you can see is clear. Like that was bothering me. One of the things that was bothering me during the whole movie, I've seen that wig where we clearly see they can stylize his hair to look natural. And the gloves was a nice touch, even though it was like really thick leather looking, but it was more comic book accurate.
Yeah, the yellow gloves.
Even though I do enjoy this movie a lot, I love the sense of humor about it. I love the pace. And again, like I said before, it does take the story element or the approach from Thor 1. And there's a lot more action in Thor the Dark World than they put in here. And it was even more action in this film as well. I think this is the most violent MCU movie to date. The death tolls, the carnage that ensued here was... Mm-hmm. I have not, maybe close enough is Endgame or Infinity War, because you see Hela demolish pretty much the whole Asgardian army, blink of an eye, as well as Valkyrie taking off those hunters.
But that was a good fight scene.
No, it was a great scene. I'm not saying there were bad fight scenes. I was just saying that this movie
it showed her strength. It showed, that she was a woman to be reckoned with.
Right, but I'm just saying, like in the sense of like carnage and death. Even though there was like no blood, because they pretty much like they died or evaporated from that gunfire from Valkyrie's ship.
You still see like fabrics, like what would have been like charred remains. You just see fabric rain down like confetti. So like I get what you're saying. Is pretty much
you see dead bodies. You see dead bodies, especially in Asgard.
Yeah, it's visually more violent in that aspect. I mean, even in the sense like when he lost his eye, like it's not like
Right.
he lost
He
his
lost
eye
it.
off like a different screen or a different scene. It's like boom, his eye is gone. You don't see the flop of the eye, but you see like a cavity.
Also, no blood.
Yeah,
You would think blood will be spilled or gushing out.
But they're not really considered earthly.
They still bleed. Yeah,
You
I know.
bleed red?
Ella, played by Kate Blanchett, was amazing. I think she looked hot and sexy as all hell with that hair and the shadowy makeup.
I'm not gonna lie, she brought emo
Hella.
sexy back, and like
Right? Yeah. Gothic back, right? Gothic,
Yeah.
sexy gothic back, right? And the way she approached and the way she walked, and then when she was getting ready for battle, which I know you liked,
Mm-hmm.
where she placed her hands through her hair and then it turns into her helmet. That was a nice touch.
Yeah.
When she did that, it reminded me of Sylvester Stallone in Over the Top. You remember that movie?
I only remember over the top with the hand things to get the grip. I don't
Right.
remember any, and he was a truck driver.
He had a baseball cap, right? When he flipped it and put the brim in the back, it was showtime. And her doing that was similar aspect. Like when the horns come out, she's
Yeah,
about to.
she means
she's about to-
business.
Yeah.
I'm about to say you're the only person that will probably make that reference.
I guess that shows how old I am too. We have the return of Odin, Heimdall, Loki, Thor, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We also have here a tag team, if you will, of Bruce Banner, the Hulk, making an appearance
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
here, using the story of Worldwide Hulk into this movie, which I thought was genius. Making two stories into one, or maybe three stories into one, was smart. Plus, also, I was telling her in the comic book, the Illuminati sent the Hulk off
To
Earth.
Sakaar. Not
To
intentionally,
Sakaar.
but
Yeah,
they
right.
did.
Exactly. Where here is a Quinjet that lost his coordinates, and that's where it ended up. The Illuminati that we saw from similar to Illuminati of Multiverse of Madness. They sent him out because he was becoming a threat to Earth, creating so much damage, losing control multiple times. So they got him out.
I was one of the proponents when that movie first came out for Ragnarok. I'm like, I like the idea, like you said, but I was a huge fan of World War Hulk, Planet Hulk, and World War Hulk. They transitioned to do this too, and I
Right.
wanted that, but I didn't get it. But I still like this Hulk. Of the three versions of the Hulk we've gotten so far, this was my favorite version because it's close to my Planet Hulk that I like, but fun, enjoyable. I'm not a big fan of Professor Hulk, and I like the Savage Hulk acted like a gorilla to me, which I get, but still, I was like, he's not a gorilla. So I did enjoy the Ragnarok version of Hulk. It's not what I wanted, but it was something I enjoyed.
Do we know which was our favorite scenes in it? I mean, there's so much good stuff here. Yeah, I can understand it's kind of hard to tell or point out. But Kimberly, do you have one?
My favorite scene was probably the gladiators, where Thor, when he first sees Hulk, he's like, "That's my friend. You my son."
Well,
It's like,
actually, that's my friend from work.
yeah.
And Adan, you know where that came from, right?
Yeah, it came from a kid that was visiting the set. The kid actually made the suggestion. It's like, oh, you should say like he's a friend from work. And it was I think it was like one of those special wish kids or something like that.
Oh, Make a Wish.
Yeah, and they're like, that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Along that scene,
And I
I
do
also, along that scene, I also like when the sun's getting low. So no one's gonna hurt you. No one's gonna. And he grabs him, and he starts doing the
Right.
same thing that he did with Loki. And Loki's like, yes, that's how it feels.
Yeah.
It's like I'm really into the sports.
Even though no one knows who Thor is on that world,
Mm-hmm.
when his body armor is very similar to what he is, or how he is. His helmet, very steampunk, if you will. He has the shield. He doesn't have a hammer, but he has a cudgel or a baton.
I thought it was a mace.
Then he cudgel mace is similar, but no, the mace has like a ball at the end with spikes, I think. And this one didn't. It was just anyway. He uses the Hulk's hammer against the Hulk,
True.
and the fight was good. I mean, it was paced well. It was choreographed really good. You could see the power that they had against one another, even though they did fight before in Avengers, but they were in an enclosed space. They were on a helicarrier. Thor was trying not to create too much damage, even though the Hulk didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
He was like more able to let loose. So that was your one scene. Do you have another?
That was my main favorite scene.
Okay. What about you, Adan?
It always cracks me up. It's like, I'm gonna show you who I am, and he jumps out the spaceship in front of Fenris,
Oh.
and he just hits the space bridge.
Yeah, before you continue on that, I mean, that is a great callback to Ed Norton's Incredible Hulk.
Which I do love that movie
And-
too.
Me too. But that's a direct callback to that. And this movie does so many callbacks to the Hulk, to the Avenger films, to past Thor films, even Tony Iron Man films.
Yeah, Point Break.
And that yes, Point Break. Well, that's also Avengers. Do you have another scene?
For me, it was like a lot of small scenes that just stole the show. The intro scene where he's fighting Surtur, that was, I think in this movie, the usage of his hammer, even though it was brief, was actually more inventive than they ever did before in the previous movies, of how he was using the hammer, how he would fight with it. So I actually love that scene, even though it was brief. I would say that's a very strong scene for me. Honestly, this movie just hit it for comedy for me. And every little comedy scene was just like on point for the most part, to where you have our boy from The Boys, Carl Urban. Small character role, but fantastic
Scourge.
portrayal. A Scourge.
Scourge, yeah.
Even Hella had humor, and the way they would just carry it
yeah.
on. But Jeff Goldblum stealing the show when he comes on.
Every time he makes an appearance,
Yes.
he is that freaking scene stealer. And
Even the intro, when they introduced the Grand Master and they're doing like the Willy
that's
Wonka
Willy.
scene, and it's literally like a tribute to Willy Wonka, and then he comes in, he's like, Thor starts screaming, and then it's just him, and he's just sitting there. Even that, where he's just sitting there looking at Thor, I'm like, that's great. Like his persona, I love the Grand Master.
well, for me, like that reminded me of Ian from Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I was like, all right. I was like, okay, this is him. This is we get him again. A little more
Eccentric.
not eccentric, androgynous. Yeah, because remember he has orgies.
Oh yeah.
So he seems that kind of person that he
thinker.
doesn't discriminate.
Yeah, probably.
Also, you can see that too because he did a short film with Thor's roommate.
Oh yeah,
Those
that's
one
true.
shots. But yeah, he was awesome. And I know that your other favorite scene is when they're in the orgy ship, lack for a better term. They're trying to find where the weapons are, and then Banner hits a button, and fireworks come out, and you're, it's my birthday.
Yeah. And Jeff Goldblum does his own music for a lot of stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think I want to say he DJ'd that. Like he made that. I could be wrong.
Oh wow.
He has a troupe
Yeah.
that he performs with, and he's a pianist.
Oh, okay.
So,
He and Idris
well, Edris Elba is a DJ
Yeah.
himself as
should
well.
get together and they can have their little.
They
human
would.
show.
Like
That would be it. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Okay, did you say 2 or did you say give your 1?
I know I gave several actually. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to choose from, but for me, it was the Willy Wonka scene.
Oh, the one I just called. That was a
Yeah,
great scene.
It is a great scene. It reminded me of a Disney World ride,
Yeah.
and you're coming in, and at the end of where you think, it's the last part of the ride, the little last hoopla, whatever you want to call it, the last scare, and it's just nothing. It's done. And then there's the Grandmaster's right in front. I'm a big original Willy Wonka fan, and that song being played, and it just, and again, it's
a terrifying
almost
scene.
direct, but it's also a direct homage because it's pretty similar to what
Yeah.
Willy Wonka was going through with his golden ticket winners.
Exactly.
And he's going a little crazy. It was kind of like, I believe that was representation of an acid trip in the Willy Wonka movie. I'm not saying that.
I mean, it could
here,
be,
but-
or like going into the realm of madness, one way or the other. It could be
Right.
interpreted either way. It's like
I like the opening.
it's like
I like the.
it's like I'm always happy to have the scrapper come by. It's like she's my favorite. What do I always call her? It starts with a B. Trash.
No, so wait a minute. It doesn't even start with a B. What, you had that prepared or something? You remember that scene?
It was right after
Yeah.
that.
Wow. It was like the anger. I like the opening scene
Mhm.
in that it honors what 1 and 2 did in a sense of narration. But instead of Odin being the narrator, which was in the first one and the second one, it is now Thor giving the narration.
Good catch.
Odin was talking to us, whereas Thor was talking, I guess, to us through a dead body,
True.
a skeleton. And that was foreshadowing for him to be king. That's how I saw it. And then later on, we find out it is so, where Odin Yoda's out. That's what he does. He Yoda out. He just lets himself go, lets himself be with nature, as Yoda just let himself go into the be with the Force. And I thought it was a really touching scene. What about you guys? You had a little issue.
Well, I just thought that the fact that his wife had a different way of disappearing in the sense, like, because she died, but she was still her
Her
body was
body was
still
still
there,
there. Yeah.
and they had this ceremony, and they put her in the boat, and the boat drifted off, and then they let go of the arrow where it caught on fire, and then you see her
Right.
dissipate into flickering sparkles.
In a way, it is similar. That's a Viking tradition with
Viking
her
funeral.
in the boat. Right.
Yeah.
When he's in Norway, the land of the Vikings.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it's not the same, of course, in the sense of boats and arrows and fire, but he's home. He can relax now. He can let go. Also, he was banished.
Yeah.
So he has no following like he
Yeah,
would
but
if he
he
was there.
didn't die per se, or they didn't give him a moment to his body to be cold. It was just he just basically closed his eyes and he was poof
Yeah,
gone.
yeah, he Yoda it. He's a god, so he has that thing. He's like, you know what, I'm done. I'm gone. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
On to other things. My other favorite is the Hela taking down the Asgardian guards. Great scene. Oh, I actually forgot. Well, that's it. The one with Thor in the beginning with the joking and him spinning around. It's like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I want to see you when we talk. And Suitor, you know who the voice of Suitor is, right?
Yes.
The magnificent, classy Brown. There can only be one.
On a side note, though, I just remembered, and I put this connection earlier, and I just double checked it. So when Odin keeps saying, "I'm home," this is homeboys, and stuff like that on that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Did you not recognize that that's where New Asgard is on the coast there? Because they formed New Asgard in the Infinity War, no, in Endgame.
Endgame, right?
It is in Norway.
Oh, but that's where
Well,
Thor
so
gets drunk and becomes
heavy.
couch
Yeah,
potato Thor.
exactly.
Well, he is in Norway, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, so no, he's literally like prophetically or
That's
like
the new home.
declaring like this is the new home, like
Yeah.
like you said, foreshadowing. This is where new
Yeah.
home's gonna be.
Oh.
So
And again, but the thing is like
Great catch.
Asgard is not a place; it's a people.
exactly.
So wherever you take them is Asgard. So it didn't have to be where they are. It's just where
Mm-hmm.
I think Thor. Well, does he? Not Thor, but yeah, Thor and Valkyrie. They take him where to honor Odin, his last resting place.
They don't make it there. They eventually get
But they
there, but they don't
But
make it.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yeah, I know they don't make it. But duh. Is there a scene that we didn't like?
Let's start with you, Kim. You got anything?
Nothing comes to the top of my head. I mean, the only thing that I kind of was like, oh, okay, was the end where during Asgard.
Oh,
He was-
Suitor.
Yeah,
Oh,
Suitor.
Suitor?
His whole thing of I have to feature whatever he says about
I'll be your reckoning.
Yeah,
conquering.
he's
Asgard.
giving his monologue as he's destroying Asgard.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah, it
thing
was
is-
kinda okay,
He
bold.
said that though.
smash.
But the thing is, he said all that while he was monologuing with Thor in the beginning,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
and Thor tried to stop it. And the thing is that Thor made that a reality because he brought him to Asgard.
Yeah.
To either it was supposed to be locked up in the chambers. If Thor didn't do that, if Thor didn't defeat him,
It would never happen. Or if
Would
he
have
didn't
never
bring the crown to those chambers,
right?
Because
That's what I'm saying.
I did dawn on me like when he brought him back and they bring that, I was like, so why are you gonna bring the crown that will like summon Surtur
Potentially-
and literally put it in the same vault that you have the eternal flame?
Exactly. Right.
Makes no sense.
But it does.
I mean, it
the
does
end.
if you're gonna be the one that's gonna cause the problem.
But no, you know what I'm saying. But you know what I'm saying is like what you feared,
Came true.
not just that, but what you feared was actually the savior.
Exactly.
I do have one that I find as a huge plot hole.
Go ahead.
Well, thank you. Hela is the older sister.
Ugh.
So she was alive, I guess, full adult before Thor and Loki were around because they have no clue of her
Mm.
and no idea who she is. Valkyrie, along with her warrior maidens, fought against Hela.
True.
How is Valkyrie younger than Thor?
I mean, they the Asgardians said that they are older, like they age differently.
I understand
And
that.
they
I
by
understand that.
thousands
Oh,
and thousands of years.
right. I understand that. But Valkyrie looks younger than Thor and Loki.
Black don't crack.
She
I mean, seriously.
no, but come on, but that's a huge plot hole, don't you think? That if she fought Hela prior to Thor and Loki,
She'd be
being
hella
born,
old. Yeah.
she'll be a lot older. She'll be closer to Hela's age. Hela looks like the older sister,
Mm-hmm.
but Valkyrie looks younger than the guys. I mean,
But a lot of it probably has to do with the actress. The actress that plays Valkyrie.
okay, that's casting though. That has nothing to do
Well,
with her
then,
age.
then,
Wait.
That's the
then they
actress.
did a big
The
mistake in casting.
Right.
Yeah.
She was a great actress. She did a great job playing the role of Valkyrie. But again, at the same token, the age doesn't
Then they should.
match.
You could make one argument when they're talking about like, oh, I've been on Sakaar for 2 weeks. We're like, I just got here, and the game master is like, oh, time works differently on Sakaar. In some places, I'll be like millions of years old. On Sakaar,
Yeah, I don't believe it.
he just stops.
No, but
Theoretically, that could be a thing,
here's the
though.
thing. It could be, but no, because the thing is, when they were traveling through the Bifrost, Thor, Loki, and Hela, Loki got pushed out.
True.
Maybe a few seconds, 10 seconds before Thor got pushed out.
Yeah.
And he was there like 2 weeks prior of Thor's arrival.
Yes.
And Thor says, oh man, growing up, I wanted to be a Valkyrie. So there's legend about that.
Mm-hmm.
True.
So again, time, it makes no sense because legend, it takes time for a legend to come out through word of mouth, through story.
Oh, I don't disagree with that. I mean, the argument that I'm saying is like time is always relative. But if they're talking about time and as on Sakaar, is like, yes, you have days and nights, but it doesn't really. People don't age or like transcend. They don't talk about people getting older or aging in Sakaar. And he's like, time is weird because they have so many wormholes and black holes all around Sakaar. You see them all
Yes.
dropping. It's gravity wells that are augmenting the space.
It's like Buzz Lightyear.
Have you not seen Interstellar?
No, it's like Buzz
No,
Lightyear.
but okay, but what I'm saying
Remember
is,
he
yeah,
was
no.
Both Disney.
Not with Lightyear. There's a Lightyear. That's the thing. He travels 4 minutes and 4 years pass by.
Yeah,
But what?
see?
But it's not the same because the thing is, she should not be as young as she is. That when she
Then they
fought,
should have cast Halle Berry.
yeah, they should have casted someone. That's the only thing. Not to take away from Tessa Thompson's acting ability because it was again awesome. But yeah, you should have got someone that would have fit that time because she's been there for a while. They know her on Sakaar as
Or forget Jada Pinkett Smith.
oh hells no. No, the attitude of hers, no. But that's the only thing I have a problem with, was that plot hole time thing because it does not make sense. Because again, if Thor's alive for 3,000 years
Mm-hmm.
or such, and she's older already, so it doesn't.
I mean, she could be around like 3021. She could have been 21 years older than him when she got drafted.
Right, but the thing is, like, no one knew about Hela or didn't know about her in the sense of what happened.
Well, didn't
Loki
the
did not
father
know.
explain that he banished her or that he?
Right, he
got
he
rid-
finally told the story then on his
Yeah.
on his deathbed.
Yeah,
He finally told them, and they're like, "Who?" You know, I mean, granted,
it was like the black sheep of the.
no, not necessarily. No, he wasn't. She wasn't the black sheep of the family. She was what he made her to be, and then he lost control of that because she kept going,
Like
and
Loki.
her strength.
He made Loki. Let's be honest.
Well, not really. He didn't necessarily make Loki. It was the combination of Godin and Frigga. She taught him. She taught him powers and stuff like that. But no,
I have
but
to insinuate
the thing-
Frigga was the mom of Hela too, because they didn't say that she was born from anything else.
right. No,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, like, Loki was Frigga's son, and Thor was Odin's son. But no, I'm saying because she had the hammer too, and there wasn't that she wasn't worthy of the hammer, but it was a suitor of the hammer.
She destroyed the hammer.
Well, that's how that like then again that's how she was able to because she was more powerful.
Yeah,
And
she's the goddess of death.
Asgard was also her strength. Like Superman's strength comes from the sun. Asgard gives her the strength. She gets stronger as she's
Oh,
there.
and then Thor wanted what's his name, Sitcher or
Surtur.
Surtur, to destroy Asgard, so that way Hela couldn't get Asgard.
Right. We
Correct.
kind of talked about that. Yes, we said that Surtur, even though in the beginning Thor went to destroy Surtur to avoid Ragnarok, but he brought him to the chambers. He brought him to Asgard anyway, which would, in the real world or in any other setting, you don't take no.
Well, yeah, we discussed that, but
Right,
not,
but
not the fact that it was.
But that's why he became the savior. Surtur, who was the destroyer, then became the savior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Because of her.
In a certain way.
Oh, in 100% way.
Oh, you haven't mentioned about the whole the Valkyrie.
You talking about the Valkyrie scene?
Well, that's one of my favorite scenes. Also, just the visual.
Yeah,
is
and I mentioned
awesome.
that that's a reminiscence or a reminder of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I can see that. She compares that to a Wonder Woman scene where the Amazons are fighting the
Finding the men.
Oh, from Amazon, from Wonder Woman 2, or
no, the
No,
first
the
one
original.
where the mother's telling the story of how Themyscira came to be and how the Amazonians became.
Gotcha.
That was similar to that as well, where even though in Wonder Woman there is narration happening with that, all we get with the Valkyrie versus Hela scene is all visual and beautifully done. They use that as well as one of the promos with the Led Zeppelin song, which fit perfectly. I know we are probably just jumping around.
We are jumping a little bit, but honestly, like the movie itself, I think was pretty good. The fact that they did it separately from the main verse plays in its favor in that sense, and artistically very well done. Like, I know you say you don't care about the other people, but I guess the argument could be said that it's too comical in that sense.
Yeah, but it just changes. Like sometimes you need comedy
to lighten the mood.
There's to break up the pace, because sometimes when you're like watching action throughout pretty much 95% of the movie, you get exhausted, and you get exhausted when it's like so much dialogue.
I do have a gripe that I just now remembered was the fact that Idris
Elba.
When he finally makes an appearance, because that's everybody's trying to where is he?
Yeah.
And obviously, he makes an appearance, but he has some freaking dreadlock thing on his head.
Did he not always have the dreadlocks?
Well, he always had the helmet on, so we didn't know.
So you can really see it.
This is the first time in the Thor series that we see Heimdall
in like street clothes.
Well, yeah.
Asgardian clothes.
Asgardian street clothes.
Yeah.
He wasn't clean shaven or so like that either. It was like he was on the run for a while because again he was banished through Loki under the guise of Odin.
True.
Because Heimdall has the power to see through people. Remember, in the Dark World, he was able to see an invisible ship and catch it.
Yeah.
And then take it down. So if he can see an invisible ship, then
Heimdall's basically he's like a Thundercat with the Sword of Omens. He's like, give me sight beyond sight, and that's what.
But always is.
But always, I did wonder, like, how is it Heimdall could share his vision to Thor of what's going on?
That is,
and
I think that is in one of the Avengers films.
Is it
Age of Ultron? Yeah, because remember he goes and he sees the future.
But that was Thor.
No, that wasn't. Was that Thor?
Yeah, where he's like at the like when Scarlet Witch does something to him and he has a vision, and then there's a deleted scene where he goes to a cave in a well. There, that's all Thor. Avengers. Yeah, that's it. No, well, that's Thor in the Avengers. But what I'm saying is Heimdall. He's asking Heimdall for a vision of what's going on, and Heimdall gives it to him.
Right, there's a connection from that. It was Age of Ultron then.
Yeah, but
like I said,
Heimdall didn't do that in Age of Ultron. He wasn't in Age of Ultron. Is what I'm saying.
He was though, in a when he goes to the cave, when Thor goes in the cave, didn't he?
No, that was the Doctor. Selvig. Now I gotta watch that deleted scene.
Now you're gonna make me look for it.
A few moments later.
You're right. It's a doctor and Thor. They're together.
Exactly. Heimdall's nowhere. Yeah. Thank you. I take the win.
Here we go. I'm gonna.
He's so determined. Heimdall's in the vision where Heimdall's in the first vision done by Scarlet Witch, which is the nightmare. But that wasn't caused by him. That was by Scarlet Witch.
Hold on.
Hold on, Odin. It's the Norn cave is what you're thinking of. Are you looking at the
Heimdall
deleted
grabs
stage?
him and says, "Wake up."
But that's from his own nightmare. That's not actually Heimdall doing it. That's in that's his vision.
That was the scene.
I was right and wrong at the same time. Okay.
Yep.
Well, no, because he was in Age of Ultron, but it was because of the vision. But the thing is, maybe that's a power. You know, again, we don't know all of Heimdall's power. Or I don't know all of Heimdall's powers. I didn't read the books. So that could be a power he had that he can connect if he's called. Because remember, when he's called upon for people to take the Bifrost back to Asgard, he has to connect to them somehow. I mean,
We'll give you that one.
And I will say before we go, like the only other thing I didn't get was the function of the Bifrost still eludes me because like when he summons the Bifrost at the beginning of the movie, they chop off the dragon's head or dragon-like creature's head with the Bifrost. Arguably, number one, that thing could have fit. Number two, there was never ever a display that the Bifrost actually cuts off limbs or anything like that. Because if that was the case, Loki would have been shredded to pieces, just being ejected out, as well as Thor, or that there was a size limit for the Bifrost.
no, I think they closed it, and it was like midway going in.
No, the head was flopped in before they closed it.
Right, I'm saying it was closing on that side, so the whole body couldn't go through. So, I mean that's a safety feature of the Bifrost. If you're not in it, you're out of it. You know, it's like so long, sucker.
That's
Maybe.
really technical.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't remember it
fall.
happening. I mean, I don't remember it was, but it also reminds me of Doctor Strange's portal that he does.
Yeah.
Okay, so worth the watch?
Yeah,
Yes. Worth the buy? Okay.
Maybe.
I already own it.
I already own it too. It is definitely worth the buy. Like I said, this is the best in my opinion, and I guess our opinion that this is the best of the trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Now we'll find out how Love and Thunder goes. Two things. I think this will be the most reprisals of Thor by Chris Hemsworth. It's definitely 4 solo projects, even though there's other characters, ghost stars and what have you. This is the 4th one. Iron Man was 3, Captain America was 3, Spider-Man was 3. He reprised his role in all the MCU films. He reprised it in What If. He reprised it 2 times in one-shots, I believe. By now, Chris Hemsworth should have the record of the most time an actor played an MCU character.
Well, if you're excluding X-Men.
MCU, I said.
Well, they consider
He outbeats Wolverine. Hugh Jackman.
actually per time in frame. Hugh Jackman outbeats him. But yeah, if you're excluding X-Men from the MCU right now, then yes.
But the thing is, like Hugh Jackman and Robert Downey Jr., they're tied of how many times their role was reprised in the sense of the film. Granted, Hugh Jackman did a video game using his voice.
He did a couple, I think.
The video game Wolverine Origins, which I think is the only game based off of a movie that was better than the movie. That game is awesome.
Yeah.
And in the sense of MCU film and media, Chris Hemsworth is now, I want to say the GOAT, but he has the record.
Who's going to be the director?
Taika Waititi again.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was funny though. I didn't know at the time that he's also the co-star of the flop Green Lantern film with Ryan Reynolds. And he's also be now doing a Star Wars project.
He's very talented.
Very talented. Yeah, but also he played a Star Wars character too. So now he needs to do a Disney project. Maybe he did too. Yes, he did. He was in Lightyear. He was Mo, the one with the pen.
He was also a new guy.
But is that Disney?
I don't know anymore.
Right.
It might as well be Disney. That one was like really up there.
Well, anyway, good for him. He deserves it. All right, guys. So that will be it for us for our marvelous review of Thor Ragnarok. Until next time, will be the next time. I'm Angel.
I'm Adan.
And Kimberly. Love you guys.
Love
you
you too.